This is Pisa, a town in Tuscany, Italy, known for its rich and fascinating history, medieval past and stunning architecture, including the worldwide famous Leaning Tower that attracts millions of visitors each year. Now my goal in this video is to show you a detailed one-day guide to Pisa, which includes main landmark Piazza dei Miracoli, but also some other less mainstream places that are going to help you fill up your day in Pisa to the top. So stay tuned and let's lean into Pisa. Now, one thing that I love about Pisa is that in case you live in Europe, you can pretty much reach it from any major European city using one of those cheap Ryanair flights, which will cost you around 30 euros round trip. One other thing that I love about it is that since it's a very small city, you can reach the city center from the airport in around 50 minutes with one of those Uber taxis. So you can start exploring the city within 20 minutes from your airport arrival. And the place where most people start their journeys, and of course the place where I'm starting my journey, is right here at Piazza dei Miracoli, the most famous attraction in the city. Oh yes, Piazza dei Miracoli, the heart of Pisa, built between 11th and 12th century, that consists of Cathedral of Santa Maria Assunta, Baptistery of San Giovanni, monumental cemetery, and most importantly, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. We will start our exploration with the cathedral, which is the building that you can see right behind me, as it was the first building that was built on Piazza dei Miracoli. And the construction started back in 1064, when Pisa was still an independent maritime republic known as the Republic of Pisa. The construction was mostly funded by Pisa's naval raid on Palermo, which was at the time under Muslim rule of the Emirates of Sicily. The raid happened in 1063, just 1 year prior to the construction of the cathedral, and one interesting fact about it is that this raid wasn't a conquest to take control over Palermo, but rather a quick looting operation. So Republic of Pisa pretty much attacked, sacked, and plundered Palermo, took treasures like gold and silver, and then retreated back, leaving Palermo in complete ruins. The construction of the cathedral was completed by 1118, when it was officially consecrated by then Pope Gelasius II. However, as it was the case with many other medieval buildings, modification and add-ons continued for centuries. So the facade, which gives the cathedral its unique look that combines Byzantine, Islamic, and Romanesque influence, was completed around 1150, while dome and interior decorations came later in the 12th century. And to take a better look at them, let's get inside the cathedral itself. If you're wondering how long did it take to build and decorate all this, well, as it is the case with most medieval cathedrals, they were always a work in progress and never completely finished. So after the construction of the cathedral, it took another few hundred years for the interior to reach the state in which we see it today. And one of the earliest works with which it all started is the mosaic in the apse, created in the 13th century by the Italian artist Cimabue. It depicts Christ Pantocrator flanked by the Virgin Mary and Saint John the Evangelist. Moving forward, we come to the 14th century pulpit by Giovanni Pisano, a Gothic masterpiece filled with intricate scenes from the New Testament. Then, jumping ahead another 300 years, we reach what many consider the absolute highlight of the church: the dome frescoes, painted in the early 17th century by Orazio and Girolamo Riminaldi. The second building, built on Piazza dei Miracoli, was the baptistery, which construction began in 1152, just as works on the cathedral were slowly wrapping up, and upon its completion, it became the largest baptistery in the world, which is the title that it still holds to this very day.
Even though baptisterium is way smaller than cathedral, it took nearly 200 years to complete, and the main reason for that is that Pisa's military and financial power began to decline. So when the baptisterium was finally completed in the late 14th century, Pisa no longer existed as independent republic, but rather it was absorbed by Florence some years earlier.
The signs of Pisa's decline as a maritime, military and financial power can also be seen inside the baptistery, whose simply decorated interior falls short compared to the lavish and finely detailed exterior. Still, here you will find a baptismal font installed in 1246 by Guido Bigarelli da Como and pulpit created in 1260 by Nicola Pisano, which is considered a major artistic milestone of the Gothic era due to its innovative blend of styles and narrative panels with depth and drama. And this brings us to the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the most recognizable building on the site, which construction began in 1173 and took another 200 years to complete, partially due to lack of funds, but mainly because of lineage of the tower, which at the time represented quite an engineering challenge.
The tower started to lean shortly after the construction began, so the works were halted in 1178 after only first 3 floors were built.
The construction restarted again in 1272, almost 80 years after it was originally halted, but came to pause only 6 years later in 1278 as the lean worsened and didn't continue until almost 100 years later in 1372 when it was finally finished by Tommaso di Andrea Pisano, a legendary Italian architect and sculptor who adapted the design of the bell chamber and made the further construction possible.
Now to answer the most important question, how does it feel to climb the Leaning Tower of Pisa? Well, I have to say, it definitely feels weird. It kind of feels like climbing regular tower after a couple of beers. So things are all the time going, you know, leaning from one side to another. But the views from the top are definitely very, very rewarding.
After Piazza dei Miracoli, move south to Piazza dei Cavalieri, or the Knights Square, built between 11th and 12th century.
When you come to this square, you may notice that it doesn't look like a 12th century square, but rather like a Renaissance one. And the reason for that is that it was readapted in the 16th century when it became the headquarters of the Order of Knights of Saint Stephen, which duty was to protect Christianity in the Mediterranean.
Reconstruction of the square was ordered by Cosimo de' Medici, Grand Duke of Tuscany, who commissioned Giorgio Vasari, the renowned architect and art historian, to redesign the square in the Renaissance style. His vision shaped the elegant appearance you see today, and the square has remained largely unchanged since then. And when it comes to Cosimo, you can still find his statue on this exact square, and if you are wondering why he has a dolphin beneath his feet,
well, one of the things that made Order of Saint Stephen famous was the fight against Ottoman pirates in the Mediterranean. So the dolphin here represents the control of the sea.
Or, I should say, Medici's control of the sea.
Now, if you want to take a break from all the city exploration, you can stop right here. This is Borgo Stretto, the charming little street located just minutes away from the main square. Here you will find a lot of shops, cafes and street food stalls where you can try some of the local street food.
Finish your day with a visit to Lung'Arno Mediceo, one of the most scenic and historic riverfront streets in Pisa, which stretches on the north bank of Arno River and carries the name of then powerful Medici family.
Now, most of these buildings that you can see behind me were built between 13th and 18th century and were at the time royal villas and palaces that were since repurposed into university building and public institutions. Now, all these buildings here look really nice, but one that definitely stands above all the others is the building that you can see right here, is the Palazzo Medici, the 15th century royal residence of then famous Medici family, and also the perfect place to end your Pisa trip.
And guys, this brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it, I hope it was fun and most importantly useful in case that you also want to visit Pisa. So thank you for watching and please like, comment and subscribe. And see you in the next video.